and welcome back to the Getting to Know Greenville podcast. I'm Katherine, and today I'm sitting here with the wonderful Perrin from Breathe Well, Be Well, and I'm so excited to talk to you today about all things mindfulness, health, Greenville within that kind of context. So my first question for you is, of course, what I usually ask everybody, can you just tell us a little bit about your business, Breathe Well, Be Well? What sort of services do you provide, and what is like the mission of your work?
Oh gosh, I love this question. So what I would say is I have 3 pillars that I absolutely build upon, and it's to empower, inform, and support. And really it's through the breath, through movement, and through thought patterns. So I'm utilizing functional breath work and meditation to provide both a bottom-up approach of using our body to find calm in the mind, and then using a top-down, which is the meditation, using the mind to find calm in the body. And really it's a culmination of what I've learned from over a decade in speech pathology, myofunctional therapy, and as a yoga instructor as well as breath coach. And I love blending science and spirit, meaning I want to take some very traditional methodologies as well as really dive into the emotions. So your emotions are going to either support or hinder your breath. And when we can really give you the meditations and affirmations that we need, you are giving yourself the medicine so that you can handle change and challenge. And that's absolutely what life is.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. There's so many parts of that I want to unpack.
Go for it.
Yeah. But I guess I want to mainly first just go back a little bit and dig back into what you were saying initially. You started out as a speech pathologist. So can you tell me a little bit about the history of your journey to Breathe Well, Be Well?
Yeah.
Was this always your dream to open something like this? Was it like you stumbled upon it? How did this come to be?
That's a hard no, because I was in survival mode for, I would say, a large chunk of my adult life. Mm-hmm. And really, it's only been probably this past year, and even like less than a year. So I actually started in February of 2022.
No way. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
You guys already have like a very impressive following, considering.
Thank you. As I say, I like to say that a lot of groundwork and rooting has taken place so that I was ready for this, and I didn't even realize it. But everything that I've done has just provided me the skills that I need. And to be completely honest, speech pathology was my second job. My first job was in public relations. I went to school in Dallas. So I grew up in Greenville, and then I went to school in Texas, and then I came back for graduate school. And I thought, oh, well, this will be it. Surely, public relations wasn't it. This will be it, speech pathology. And what I love is it just gave me a lot of skills. It gave me a lot of tools that I could use. And I was working primarily with pediatrics and clinical settings, some nonprofit, some in the home, but essentially working on articulation. So people that said Perrin instead of Perrin, L's and R's and S's, and additionally language. So it was super fun to help people find their voice. And then through the myofunctional therapy, which is essentially the muscles of the face and making sure your swallow patterns, your tongue rest patterns, and the way that you use everything for speaking, breathing, eating are being used properly, I was able to just get a bigger and wider set of tools and understanding to support people through finding their voice, finding their breath. And then when the pandemic hit, the thing that really got me to yoga teacher training was essentially I was doing yoga literally in here. We were all spending so much time in our homes, and it gave me a new love of yoga that I hadn't discovered before. And when this offering at Soul Yoga, a great yoga studio, hot yoga studio in Greenville, was offering in person, I was like, oh my gosh, where do I sign up? Yeah. I didn't know why I needed it. I just knew I needed it. And through there, when we started talking about the breath, that's when a light bulb went off for me. So essentially, when I see patterns in different realms and domains, that's when I get really excited. So I learned about breath through speech pathology. I'd learned about breathing and tongue rest posture from oral facial myology. And then I was hearing about pranayama, which are essentially the breathing practices in yoga. And when I started linking all these 3 together and realizing that there's different ways to teach the same skills and you need these different tools for different audiences, it became so crystal clear to me that this is something that I've got to dive into. As I grew to love this, I just knew that this is something I needed.
That's amazing. So Yeah, wow, that's so cool. I mean, no, seriously, I'm like, wow, that's amazing, especially because I think I mean, I remember during the pandemic for me and for a lot of other friends of mine as well, we all also sort of turned into maybe some of those practices that we never really do otherwise in life. Like I mean, I know everybody talked about, some people were learning new languages, some people were, doing puzzles, whatever, and one of the things that I turned to also was meditation and yoga to get through some of that mental stress, and I think it's amazing that you kind of managed to find a way to connect something that heals you into something that you already were kind of an expert in with your speech pathology work. I think that's so interesting.
Thank you.
So my next question a little bit was, you mentioned that you went to Dallas for school and then you came back to Greenville. So of course, as a podcast about Greenville, I'm curious, why did you not stay in Dallas? Why did you want to come back here?
I just got homesick after I graduated, and I was working and wasn't loving my job, and realized I wanted to come back to school for speech pathology. I applied to University of South Carolina in Columbia and was accepted, and everything just fell into place, and it just made me appreciate Greenville so much more. And then I graduated at USC in 2011, and so I've been back as an adult since then. So just made sense. My family's here, my dad's here, my stepmom's here, my mom, my brother, my nieces, my sister-in-law, my family's here. And what I think's been interesting and fun and really a gift is that as an adult, I've gotten to rediscover myself here. And as more people are moving in, and especially as I'm growing my business, I am so delighted and love meeting so many new people. And I love how Greenville is growing, just like I've been growing. And it really is a city that provides everything I need, and opportunities and parks. And if you haven't noticed, I love plants and trees and green things and living things. And it's so pedestrian friendly, so nature lover friendly. And my dog, Vanna, who literally is in my lap, there's so much for us to do together. It has everything that I need without being such a big city that you don't get lost.
Yeah. Well, on our last podcast, I asked somebody a kind of similar question, and they answered they liked that Greenville had all the resources of a big city, but you don't have to stand in line for it, if that makes sense. And I was like, yeah, like that's really kind of spot on. So kind of segueing a little bit, I was going to ask, something that I've noticed about your business is that you collaborate a lot with other local businesses like Sun and Soil, which we had Laylee from Sun and Soil on the podcast a couple episodes ago. Also Blockhaven, I saw was one of the places that you work with on your Instagram. We did a video with them, I think last year. Oh, wow. And I was going to ask you, what has your experience been like running a local business here? Would you say that there is kind of a tight-knit local business community, or do you feel really connected to other business owners around you?
Oh God, absolutely. I am always looking for community. I'm always looking for like-minded individuals. Another thing that's been really wonderful is the Community Work Center, and I think it's the Women's Business Center. It's a nonprofit in Greenville. They have wonderful resources. I've gone to several of their offerings.
I love that you found that, this is a kind of a trend that I've seen amongst the people that I've talked to, the local business owners and such, that all of them seem to have really collaborative spirits in the way that they will always, it's not just that they'll they're not in competition with each other, it's far beyond that. They're actually supporting one another on a consistent basis, doing things like having external local businesses with, yoga workshops coming in, or I know that Laylee does other things with a brewery that is next to her, and I talked to somebody from Boston Bakery, and she does, it's this whole community that I'm seeing kind of butterfly out that I hadn't really known, obviously, until we started doing this, was that everybody's sort of how can we help each other create this little net of support, which I love.
100%. And what I was going to say, there's actually two things. One, I really like to think I'm not your competition, I'm your connection.
Oh, love that.
That resonates greatly with me, because I've been in industries where it very much was competitive, and I didn't like it.
No.
And then the second thing is there's something called the root wide web, which is essentially the root system of trees and forest. Ooh. And I've used this in meditation, but I just think the the whole concept is fascinating. So basically these trees, the older they get, the more established they get, the wider their root system reaches, and it starts to blend with the other trees beside them. So not only are their roots helping them stay strong and stand in the wind, it also is connecting them to the other trees around them. So what's amazing is like if one tree is losing nutrients and it needs support, the other trees can provide it through the rooting system. And that essentially, I think, is what this just collaborative spirit allows us to do, is to support one another, because we are so much stronger together than individually.
Oh my gosh, I'm like obsessed with that completely. Yeah. I never even heard of that metaphor before.
It is true. Like honestly, you just look at nature and that provides all the inspiration
it really does
need.
And it's so that's such a beautiful way of putting it too. I never heard somebody speak to it in that way, but that is truly what I think I'm witnessing, hearing from other local business owners, and part of the reason why I love Greenville so much, and I like, even you said that you like Greenville so much because you find that your people are here, and it seems like the people here obviously are very friendly, but I think a lot of them have that same idea of that kind of rooting in, and we're just supporting each other, we're not competing with one another, which I think is rare for a growing city. I think a lot of times it's easy to get caught up in the growth and go, I want to be on top of everybody else in this situation, instead of we can all work together and make everyone do well. What would you say, having open your business only really in February, but it seems, I mean, I've, from your Instagram alone, you can tell that you guys have gotten like a good following. What would you say in general is the community reception to this business that you started?
I've been blown away. I've been blown away. So I feel fortunate that I've been here for a while. My family's been here for a while. So overall, it's been really beautiful. And it lets me know that I'm on the right path. Every day something happens, I just am reminded this is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah.
And I feel as though a lot of the people that I've been fortunate to speak to feel that way about again, having a business here in particular. I think because the community is so open to new ideas and new expressions, like you said, like even Reiki, which a couple of years ago I had never heard of Reiki. I think some people are like, oh, that's a little bit woo woo for me, but like truly, I think that Greenville has this kind of spiritual community that might surprise people who maybe don't live here or have just visited for the first time, just moved here or whatever. But it seems to me that there is a really a level of an open-mindedness here to kind of new expressions of spirituality and mindful practice, which I'm really happy to hear that it seems that that's your experience as well, that as a business owner in that field, you seem to be getting a lot of good reception. Right. I love that.
Oh, right. Well, and it all goes back to, we're not each other's competition, we're each other's connections. And I'm not going to be right for everyone, but you better believe I cannot wait to tell you who I would love for you to go see next. And it works both ways, and it feels good to help, even if it's in the capacity of a referral.
Oh, I love that. So I guess my final question that I ask every single guest is, it can be about, I know that we've touched on it quite a bit already, but it can be related to your business or not. What would you say is your favorite thing about living, working, being in Greenville in general?
Oh, essentially it all boils down to the better care I take of myself, the better care I can take of others. Greenville is a place that takes care of my heart and soul through the natural offerings, the parks, the mountains, the lake at Perrin. Oh God! I mean, like
Perrin, yes.
Yeah, I was about to say, and just Cleveland Park. Like I grew up right next to Cleveland Park, so I could hear the monkeys and the zoo and different animals. We would walk through the park or walk through the woods to get to the park. I mean, I just have so many wonderful memories, and there's so much that you can do, but it's in the name itself. Greenville. Green is the color of the heart chakra. Heart chakra is how we pour in love for us so that we can pour out love for others, and that, I think, is it.
I love that. That's a wonderful answer. One of my favorite ones that I think we've had. Yes. So finally, thank you for being here with us today. I was going to ask you if you could just tell people where they can find you online.
My favorite question.
Yes, plug it away.
As I say, so I'm most active right now on my Instagram, which is Breathe Well, Be Well. So BREATHE. Well, Be Well. I used to spell it before I started this business, I would very easily switch breath and breathe. Put an E on that breath, make it breathe. Then also my website is breathewellbewell.info. You can email me at Perrin, Perrin at breathewellbewell.info. And then I will be putting a link on my website as well as my Instagram where you can book a session online. So I don't have to schedule people anymore. But that's what I'm most excited about, is just being able to offer this to not only Greenvillians, but anyone with the internet access.
Oh, I love that. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here with us today. And if you guys have any more questions for me, or if you want to move to Greenville and make your quality of life better, please feel free to reach out to us at DelilahProperties.com, which is DELISLE properties.com. You can also email me at Katherine@DelilahLink.com or Steven@DelilahLink.com. So until next time, see y'all later.